If you want tons of sales, but you don't want to spend a lot of money on ads, this video may be the most important one you'll ever watch. Most people think of ads as an expense, but they're not if you do it right. Keep watching, because I'll show you where most people go wrong, how you can do it the right way, and how I've run hundreds of thousands of dollars in ads for the past 5 years without spending my own money. If your business isn't making as much money as you want it to, you'll also find out why it's probably not your fault. And if you stay to the end, you'll find out how I made $3,025 in my first 2 weeks by ignoring all of the experts' advice and using a much easier way. So let's get into it. Back in 2019, I bought about $300 worth of ads. Ever since then, my ads keep running and making me hundreds of dollars in sales every day. But I haven't put any more of my own money in. It's like Mark Zuckerberg is bankrolling my business. But this is not a scam or a trick. And it's not based on some kind of loophole that will go away as soon as someone notices it. It's totally ethical, and Zuck wants me to do it. I'll tell you how it works in a minute. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Kara Stein, and I help authors, coaches, and creative entrepreneurs make more money by selling info products. You may know me as the creator of the bestseller Launch Blueprint, or you may have seen me featured as one of Sam Cart's big success stories. One of my short ebooks has sold over 13,000 copies, and in March, it crossed the $1 million mark for business that it's brought me. That book is the reason I don't have a job or work with clients anymore. And if you dream of making a full-time income from your books and other e-products, I'd love to help you create this life for yourself. That's what this video is about. You see, in order to make enough money to live on, you have to make a lot of sales. Or you can make a few high-ticket sales and deliver a high-ticket service. But I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted passive income. At the time, $6,000 a month was enough to cover all of my expenses. That's $200 a day on average, or about 7 sales a day at $27. Maybe if you're a huge influencer, you can do that with organic traffic, but I had an audience of about 400 people. Not nearly enough. I know, because I started out with the organic approach. I blogged, I put out tons of free content, I got featured on other people's sites. All of it was a ton of work that brought in very little sales. After a year or two of this, I concluded that I was a loser and I sucked at business. I almost gave up. But here's what I was missing. If you don't have enough traffic, you won't make a lot of sales. It's just simple math. An average sales page converts at 1%. That means out of every 100 visitors, only one will buy. So if you want to make 7 sales a day, you need at least 700 visitors a day. That doesn't sound like much, until you realize it's 21,000 people a month. Where are you going to find that many people? My stuff wasn't selling because I wasn't getting it in front of enough people. It's that simple. I could make a living selling high-ticket packages and done-for-you services, because you only need to make a few sales at that price point to add up to real money. And it was certainly better than having a job. But my dream had always been to make a full-time living from my books and courses. Then one day I watched a webinar by Scott Moran of Sam Cart. He talked about how he started out with only $100 to spend. He bought ads with it, and the ads brought in more than $100 in sales. I want to say it was $127. So the next day, he took the $127 and bought more ads. And it made him more than $127 again. But most importantly, he didn't put in $100 on the first day and then have to spend $127 more the next day. He put in $100 on the first day and used the sales from that to pay for the next day. And the next, and the next, and the next. I always assumed you needed a lot of money to run ads, but he started with only $100 and it worked. If your ads are profitable, it doesn't take long before you can get your original $100 back. Then you're playing purely with house money. But by then, who cares about the initial $100? Because your money is compounding every day. You've probably heard a lot of investment advice about putting money in the stock market and watching it grow over the years until you can retire. On average, the stock market brings investors a return of 10% per year. With ads, we can get a return of 10% per day. For comparison, if you put $100 into the stock market and reinvested all the gains, at the end of a month, you'd have about $100.83. Put that same $100 into ads for 30 days, and it would be more like $1,586.31. And again, you're not putting in money every day. You're just putting in that initial $100 on the first day. After that, you're just reinvesting gains. Now, you may be thinking, I still can't live on $1,500, and if I'm just reinvesting all the money, What good does it do me? That's a good question. I have two answers. One, every sale adds one more buyer to your email list. So when you do make an offer to your email list, people actually buy. And two, you can start taking some money out if you want. You'll just slow down the growth. Personally, I wanted to start making significant money as quickly as possible, so I kept reinvesting until I got to $600 or $800 a day. My ads were bringing in more like a 20% return, which is awesome. At that rate, $800 a day brings in $960 in sales. So if you just take the profit and put the $800 back in for the next day's ads, that's $160 a day, or $4,800 a month that you get to keep. Not bad for only putting in $100 to get it started. Anytime you can put in $100 and get back $110 or $120, it's like a miracle. It's like having a magical ATM that just gives you money. Or like letting Zuck foot the bill for your ads, and he's happy to do it because it means you'll buy more ads. And unlike most advertising models, we're not offering freebies or paying for leads and hoping that sometime down the road they'll buy and we'll make our money back. I tried that model first. I put in about $1,600, and guess what it made me in sales? $0. And the worst part of that old model is it takes so long before you can tell whether it's working or not. So you're spending all this money on hope, basically. We don't do that. We sell a tiny info product that people can impulse purchase. We price it at $27 or $37. We run some ads right to the sales page, and we make our money back the same day. When I was first starting out, I was literally doing it one day at a time. I had one tiny credit card with a $900 limit, and I'd use it to pay for ads for the day. Then that night, I'd transfer the money from sales down from PayPal. In the morning, I'd use that money to pay the card to pay for the ads for the day. As my sales grew and the profits started to add up, everything got smoother and easier, and I didn't have to pay the credit card every day anymore. But that's how I started out. Just $300 of my own money, and no way of knowing if it would really work or not. I still marvel at how it's paid off, not just in terms of dollars and cents, but in terms of lifestyle. As a result of this business model, I mostly retired at 43, and now I pretty much just do what I want. I still work on passion projects because they give me joy. But as far as anything I don't like, I pretty much don't do it. I don't even wear real pants. Now, I've oversimplified a few things to explain this. You don't really get the same amount of sales every day from your ads. The ads do better some days than others. Some days, it's a loss. But the goal is to average at least 10% return on your ads. The other thing you need to know is that you can't just keep compounding and still get the same returns. Otherwise, I would have kept reinvesting each day's sales until I got to about $5 million, which, at 20% return per day, would have happened in about 2 months. Unfortunately, it doesn't keep going like that. Let me explain. If you can get 20% return on $100 a day, you may only get 10 or 15% on $600 a day, and maybe only 7 to 10% at $1,000 a day. That's because Facebook and the other ad platforms want you to get results, so you'll keep spending more money with them. So they put your ads in front of the best matches they can. At $100 a day, there are a lot of great matches who are likely to buy. At $1,000 a day, they have to find 10 times as many people, so some of them won't be such perfect matches or as ready to buy. But it's still worth increasing your daily ad amount as long as you're making a profit or breaking even. Because all of those sales add buyers to your email list. Not leads, not freebie seekers. Actual buyers who have paid money for your work. When I started this model, I had 457 people on my email list. By the end of the first year, I had over 4,000. And when I offered e-courses and other programs, they sold like hotcakes. As you scale up, you may only break even on same-day sales from your ads. But even if that's the case, your email promotions are all gross profit. Sell a few e-courses or one-day workshops, and you've got a very nice business that's almost entirely passive. This is how it's gone for me. And I need to tell you that I'm not a typical result. I'm a good writer. I already had experience working with clients before I tried this. And I invest a lot in developing my skills. I think we all realize most people talk a lot, but don't necessarily ever get around to doing anything. This only works if you do it. A typical result is thinking about it, talking about it, procrastinating, never getting it off the ground, and getting nothing as a result. But most of all, I implement. and I don't stop before I get results. When I learned about self-propelling ads, I spent 2 weeks creating a tiny ebook to sell, a sales page to sell it on, and an automation to deliver it when people bought it. I started running ads and it started selling. I was blown away. Now you have to realize, I went against 99% of expert advice by doing it this way. All the gurus say you can't run ads that send strangers directly to a sales page and expect anyone to buy, but they were wrong. Within 2 weeks, I had made $3,025. Now, that may not seem like much to you, but it was a lot to me. For the first 8 years of my business, I made most of my money working for clients because I just couldn't get my books or online courses to sell more than a couple $100s, no matter how hard I tried. At that point in my life, to make $3,000, I normally had to work at least 30 hours. And that's not counting the proposals I'd have to send out to win the work in the first place. But here, I invested a little time up front to build something, and then my ads did the work of selling it, and my automations did the work of delivering it. Once I set this up, I made more money in the first 4 months than I did the whole year before, and I had worked really hard that year. If you'd like to create a business like this for yourself, where you can build something once and then use it to bring in passive income for years, make sure you watch the next video. It's about how I set up my first self-propelled ads and use them to sell a tiny 33-page ebook. Like I said, it took me about 2 weeks to write the book, build its sales page, and start running ads. And it's made me over $395,272. I'll tell you what's special about this book and the 5 essential keys that make it work so you can copy my success and do it yourself. And if you'd like to build a business like this, I have a program that will guide you through the whole process, step by step, in 2 weeks. I'll link to that in the description.